So what most people know about Twelfth Night is about these twins who get separated. I mean, we said twins, they're not, it doesn't have to be necessarily that they're exactly twins, but just these siblings, this brother and sister who get separated, and the sister, she's got to immerse herself in this different world. She disguises herself, and she falls in love with her boss. He's in love with someone else. Then the woman she's courting on his behalf, she falls in love with her. It's all very, very silly, classic Shakespeare. But there's also other, if anything, probably bigger plots that are taking place within Twelfth Night. These great gullings and people, trying to. I was trying to think about the best way to explain it. It's very fun and complicated classic Shakespeare, but everybody thinks about the twins and they think about Viola and Sebastian and people dressing up as boys, but there's actually a lot of other comedy of errors-esque plots going on.
What makes you keep wanting to come back to Shakespeare? Like you say, this is the 9th one for her productions. What is it about Shakespeare?
Well, one of the reasons why we ever started this Shakespeare project, I mean, of course, we love Shakespeare, but to be honest with you, the main inspiration behind it was it's the wealth of female talent in Manchester and in just locally. So most obviously female actors. Obviously, the project is now open to non-binary performers as well, but in our experience, as we are female creatives as well who run the theatre company, is that we go to drama school, we learn all these skills, we learn stage combat, we learn how to do all these different accents, this verse and prose, and it's a big skill set to have. And then you go out into the industry and you never get to actually use these skills, or you might occasionally get to do one audition for the RSC or one this, or it's very rare to actually get the opportunity to perform Shakespeare. And then if you do, maybe you're playing a very small role or a female role in Shakespeare that's quite limited. So we had this idea a long time ago of just going, let's just do a Shakespeare, fill the stage with women. A woman gets to play Mercutio, gets to play Romeo, gets to play all these great roles. And it was, of course, just such a buzz, and there was so much demand around it that we've just kept on doing it every single year. So that's basically why we keep coming back to it, is because the demand is so big, and every year the audiences grow, which is incredible, because of course we don't want to perform to, if no one cares, then we won't do it. But thankfully people do keep coming back. But also the demand in terms of the amount of performers who, they get agents, or they get these big opportunities, or their lives change, or even just getting the chance to be in a creative room and getting to do what we love and hone our skills is rarer than it should be, and I do think especially for female performers, there's such a lack of opportunities. So that's why Shakespeare, and that's why we keep coming back to it, because it's a big cast and big, meaty, wonderful roles.
And I also really love the fact that you're doing that, because it is kind of changing the boundaries. Because when Shakespeare started, they had men playing the women roles, and because women weren't, allowed to perform. And it seems like we're now taking that ownership back and going, actually, we can do that.
It's really interesting. Like, I completely understand anyone saying, so why all female, and why that? I completely understand that question. And of course, there is always that part of my brain, though, that goes, it did used to be all men. So it shouldn't really be any different that it's, just because it's all female and non-binary actors as the company, the story can and should still be able to be told completely in the same way as it was when they were all male performers. People believed that man was a woman because he had a wig on and was wearing a dress. So it's just the same rules to me. And we're still telling the story with all the same integrity. And sometimes when it feels right for the play, so when we did our production of Taming of the Shrew, for example, we made the ensemble of performers a part of the storyline, that they were these women playing these roles. But that's actually worked within the play as well. There's a framing device written into Taming of the Shrew. Whereas with all of the other shows, it as I say, it feels as simple as what we just said, right? That it used to be all men, now we're doing it as all women. It's just that simple.
Honestly, it's great. And they're always really fresh as well, her productions. What are we going to get in this one? Are we going to be changing the time period? How is it working?
Yes, ours is I think our directors, Kaylee and Stuart, were very inspired by the idea of this person like washing up in this, this like sort of shipwreck. So obviously if we're going modern, we're not going for a literal shipwreck, but they like the idea of this seaside town. So we're somewhere that it feels and looks maybe a lot like Blackpool, this very Blackpool colorful, bright world where like anything can happen and people can be wandering around in these outlandish costumes and you wouldn't even think anything of it. And I like to use the example, we did our photo shoot for this Shakespeare, so anyone can see these beautiful images on our Instagram, our cast shots, but we did the shoot in Blackpool, so we were wandering around with all of our costumes on, with these wigs and doing our makeup in Weatherspoons. No one batted an eyelid. No one even looked at us. And we're like, this is why Blackpool is the perfect setting for this play, because you can have a lightning Vegas wedding. You can have people wandering around like screaming. You can have anything goes. And it just fits right in, fits like a glove.
What goes on in Blackpool stays in Blackpool. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, this is it. So it feels like the perfect setting.
It sounds brilliant, and also brilliant, I think, as well, if somebody hasn't seen Shakespeare before, or maybe they are new to Shakespeare and a youngster as well, kind of wanting to see it for the first time, to see it in a way that I think is more accessible to today is a great thing to do.
Yeah, no, thank you. We've had really wonderful feedback on that in the past, that there is something about these particular productions and maybe just the passion that they've been made with, that they feel very easy to understand and very, very, very accessible. We had a lot of school groups come to our Macbeth last year, because of course Macbeth is always on the syllabus, always a study text. The schools, they sent us the most incredible emails being like, we've never seen the students so engaged and so understanding something. So I think what Twelfth Night offers is, the same rich plot that Shakespeare always has. But certainly, as you say, if anyone wants to come and have a laugh and they don't think Shakespeare's for them, this is probably a version that they might be able to get on board with. It's very fresh.
Brilliant. I'll be coming by myself. I might bring some Blackpool Rock, just to have a bit of a nibble on in the interval. Is that okay?
Look, I'm not going to say it would happen, but a cast member might just, interact with that rock. If you had some rock in the audience, I can imagine some audience interaction taking place. A big part of Twelfth Night is the company of clowns. They have a big role in the show. So just a little warning for any front row people you might be spoken to, you might be sat next to, I don't know. So bring your rock, but that does feel like an invitation to me from a clown.